Guys, our new ritual weapon this season is actually pretty interesting. This is the first time I've reviewed one because honestly, most of the time they just do not interest me. But this time we have Malediction, a kinetic 120 RPM hand cannon, and for once I'm actually really happy with it. Now, this is likely going to be a pretty short review. We're talking about a gun with a fixed roll after all, but here's something I'll say right at the start. This is actually a surprisingly good weapon, mostly for PvP, but it's not bad in PvE either. I'll say this right off the bat, if you're a free-to-play player, you need this weapon. If you're a vet but don't have a good kinetic 120, then you need this weapon. Hand cannons are doing great in PvE this season, and for PvP, 120s are in a better spot than 140s, something we'll discuss later. Moving on, an important thing to note is this thing is a ritual weapon, so it's available to everyone, including free-to-play players, plus it's a very easily accessible weapon. You can acquire it from Zavala, Shaxx, or Drifter once you've leveled them up enough. Let's take a look at the roll. This is of course a fixed roll, which is one reason this will likely be a shorter review. You've got Fluted Barrel and Flared Magwell as your barrel and magazine perks, and a Stability Masterwork. These will be helping your stability, handling, and reload speed, which is part of why this weapon actually has a very good stat spread for a 120. In the third column, Discord and Enlightened Action. Discord we're all familiar with by now. Final Blows with another weapon will increase Malediction's AE, ADS speed, and accuracy for a short duration. When Discord is active, Final Blows with the weapon refill the mag from reserves. Then Enlightened Action, where dealing damage with the weapon increases handling and reload speed, so very similar to perks such as Rapid Hit or Eye of the Storm. In the fourth column, Harmony and Explosive Payload. With Harmony, getting a kill with another weapon will increase Malediction's damage by 20%. Explosive Payload, of course, gives you explosive rounds. These have a small AoE effect, and it also helps your damage fall off and massively increases flinch. Now, as far as intrinsic traits go, we're already familiar with most of them, but we do have a new one too, called Wildcard, where Final Blows have a chance to create submunitions on the target's location. These seem to proc pretty frequently in PvE, and pretty much always proc inside of PvP. Let's start with talking about perk combos, starting with PvP, because while there is for sure a PvE play here, I would say this is more of a PvP weapon. Now, in the past, with ritual weapons, they've usually had one roll for PvP and one for PvE, but on this weapon there's actually a fair bit of overlap. As an example, with Harmony, you have good synergy with Discord. Harmony's 20% damage boost means you can 2-tap Guardians not at max resilience, easier said than done with the current Titan meta, but the current class meta won't last forever. Discord will refill your mag on Final Blows, and both perks will proc when you get a kill with a different weapon. So you could get a kill with your shotgun, sniper, whatever, and proc both Discord and Harmony at the same time. So if you're 2-tapping with Harmony, Discord will make sure your less than stellar mag size stays full. There's excellent synergy here, and you could do a ton of damage with that combo. Then of course, Enlightened Action and Explosive Payload, a fantastic dueling combo. Enlightened Action will keep your handling and reload speed up whenever you're in a gunfight, and Payload will help your range and flinch the hell out of whoever you're shooting. So both combos are actually very strong inside of PvP, or at least have the potential to be strong. With the intrinsic trait, while Wildcard is a very cool trait, I haven't found it particularly useful in PvP. The munitions may delay a revive in something like Trials, but other than that, you're probably better off picking one of the others. Now, for PvE, I am admittedly less than excited for this weapon. Hand cannons are performing way better in PvE this season, but there just isn't a lot here. The synergy between Discord and Harmony could be useful for ad clear, and Explosive Payload is always a good PvE perk, but other than that, there are just better hand cannons for PvE. Sunshot, Round Robin, Bottom Dollar, there's just a ton of way better PvE options out there. The Wildcard intrinsic trait is fun in PvE and definitely more useful there too, but the weapon as a whole just isn't a particularly good fit for PvE. But for PvP, this is a great hand cannon. This is still a great option for longtime players, and for free-to-play players, it really is a must-have. It feels great, it performs well, it hits like a truck, and it duels fantastically. Between the good perks and the good stat spread, it's just a very solid hand cannon as a whole. So at least if you're a PvP player, this weapon is definitely worth your time, and like I said before, I do truly believe that 120 hand cannons are in a better spot than 140s as a whole. Pulse rifles are still everywhere, and SMGs still have way too much reach and not enough recoil, and while 140s definitely have more reach with the zoom changes this season, you'll have an easier time reaching the ranges needed to duel high-impact pulses on a 120, plus the higher range will help you keep out of immortal range. 120s also induce a lot more flinch on an opponent, which is very helpful when fighting those weapons, and a 120 with explosive payload will have people basically looking at the ceiling whenever you tag them. Plus, while they have a slower TTK than 140s, they are also more forgiving. You can kill a Guardian with 2 crits and 1 body as opposed to 3 crits with a 140. Damage boosters can help this too, get a high enough damage boost and you're 2-tapping, and even some lower damage boosts will let you get away with 2 body shots and 1 crit. But these benefits do come at a cost. Like I said, 120s have a slower TTK, around a full second. They also have much heavier recoil than other archetypes, and they tend to have pretty horrendous stat spreads. Getting a 120 with high range usually isn't an issue. Getting a 120 with good range that also has good stability, handling, and reload speed is usually a huge problem. This is one of the big selling points on Malediction. The overall stat spread is honestly excellent for its archetype. It makes this weapon perform better and feel better than most other 120s in a gunfight. You can see the stat spread here, and while this may not be the best on something like a 140, on a 120 this is actually really good. So Malediction is a great weapon. That's all for me today, Guardians. Short video, but this is really just a very straightforward weapon. It's simple and it works, which is fine by me. For now, do me a favor and hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of Malediction. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button with the bell icon. We're only a few subs away from 500 subs, so it would mean a lot if you guys subscribed. I'm thinking our next video will be one of the raid weapons, probably Swordbreaker, since the Necrochasm quest is going to take a while. Then after Trials next week, we'll put out the Igneous Hammer review. For now, I will see you all in the next video. Peace, Guardians.